Hello and welcome to Sons of Cinema,
Woo!
where today we're going to be looking at the original Ghostbusters from 1984 and Ghostbusters
Woo! I'm a ghost.
and Ghostbusters 2. You want to take that off if you can?
How did you know it was me?
Whoa, your torso is gone.
Only if the green screen is working.
Only if the green screen works.
Okay, so you introduced us.
Yes.
I'm Marty Jalove, and this is my son,
Luke Jalove.
and together we are the
Sons of Cinema.
All right, so Luke, what shows are we going to be looking at today or reviewing?
As I said while you were under that sheet, we're going to be reviewing...
That wasn't me. That was a ghost.
No, as I was saying while there was a ghost there.
Yes.
We were going to be reviewing Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2.
No, so Ghostbusters was 1984. When was Ghostbusters 2 put out? Do you know?
It was either 1989 or 1990.
You should have just thrown out a date. Nobody's going to check. Okay, so we'll say 89. Beautiful. That was a great movie. So we got a chance to rewatch them. Wonderful, incredible movies.
Indeed.
All right. So give us your overall synopsis. So most people who are going to watch this are only going to watch the first couple of minutes and then they're going to turn off our show. So go ahead. Give them the information they really want.
So Ghostbusters, directed by...
This is in case the green screen works.
Directed by Ivan Reitman, based off a script by Dan Aykroyd, which was workshopped heavily by Harold Ramis.
Okay. Cool.
It went through a very difficult production. Originally, it was,
How so?
Well, originally it was written for Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, and Eddie Murphy.
Wow. That would have been a cool team. Yes.
But then the Winston part got downsized, so Eddie Murphy was out.
Okay.
John Belushi died.
That would take him out.
Eventually, it came to be Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson.
Neat.
So there was a lot of Dan Aykroyd's script of this was massive because he's very known for writing huge, overcomplicated scripts.
Okay.
But Harold Ramis, who was a comedic genius,
Yes.
and one of the great screenwriters of his time, he went and he made the script workable. He made it the tight, efficient thing it is in this movie, and that's the first thing I want to comment about on the original Ghostbusters.
Yes.
It's one of the funniest movies of all time.
I would agree with you. Yes.
It's just all of it feels so natural. It feels so rooted in character.
I enjoyed it more watching it again. I mean, I loved it when it first came out. Mm-hmm. It was the movie. Mm-hmm. It was like everyone was dancing in the street. You know, who you gonna call?
Right.
All right. But watching it again was just brought back so many memories and a lot of subtleties that I hadn't remembered from the first movie or the first time watching it. So, yes, I agree with you. Great movie. Probably one of the best comedies of all time.
Oh, definitely. And one thing that makes the comedy work here,
Yes.
as opposed to other movies as we go further into the Ghostbusters franchise, is its script needs to be efficient and needs to work because it's such a heavy sci-fi plot.
Right.
Sci-fi very dictated by rules and what needs to happen. So you can't do as much improvising, you can't do as much looseness.
Yeah.
So I think what's so clever about Ghostbusters is it sort of segments the comedy, the loose improvisation to Bill Murray, and then both Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis basically just have the script to go off of. So it's just like straight performance, like word to screen. It's very efficient at doing what it's trying to do because Egon and Ray give the firm rules that a sci-fi plot needs. Okay. And then Bill Murray gives most of the comedy. Well, obviously,
not all of it, but most of it, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And then Ernie Hudson is the one that we can connect with. He's the everyman. Mm-hmm. He's the one that you just when you're watching the movie, you're like, yes, I could see myself in that position. being part of this group.
Yes. Yeah. In theory.
Yes.
I'd say my one criticism of Ghostbusters is that Winston, as a character, doesn't have that much to do.
Right.
He's really not in it that often. That's just my take.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, after watching it again, part 1 and part 2 together, I have a greater appreciation for part 2, which we'll get into in a minute. But I believe that Ernie Hudson's position, even though it wasn't big, and maybe he could have been given bigger lines, he added some structure to it. He filled in points that made a perfect flow for the entire movie. He was a pivotal part of the movie that you could you might feel at first you overlook. But without him, there was it would have been a bunch of little skits, but he helps bring the whole thing together. That's my opinion.
All right, that's fair.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
definitely.
thank you. I think the other thing we talked about was how essential Dan Aykroyd is in both movies.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
and it was really neat watching it again because I thought Dan Aykroyd was like a secondary character.
You also, I think, just had a misconception that he was like a geeky, like whoa, like
Right,
constantly being like the butt of the joke. But no, he's just the ever the optimist.
Yes.
He like Dan Aykroyd himself. He fully believes in Ghostbusters, in ghosts. I don't know how much you've seen of Dan Aykroyd.
I've seen a little bit of him
In real
outside
life.
of the film industry, right?
He has some interesting beliefs.
Okay.
Is what I'll say, but I think it's necessary for this movie because he just lends himself fully to the role.
Okay.
You know, just this.
Sure.
This guy's like, wow, and he knows the words he needs to say. He's like, oh man, the PKE is off the charts. You know,
and he delivers it so well because it's so honest because, like you said, he believes in so much of this stuff that when he talks, it's truly coming from his heart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he suddenly is the expert in this field. Cool. Yeah. So, how would you compare number 1 to 2?
I will say I went into thinking it was going to be a lot worse.
Okay.
And as I was watching it, I decided it's only worse.
Not a lot worse. It's just worse. But what he means by that is it's not as good as 1.
Yes.
But number 2 is still a great movie.
I would say it's good. Yeah.
I don't. It's difficult to say number 2 is a standalone movie. Like if you only saw number 2, it would be difficult to understand everything. Mm-hmm. You have to see number 1 to truly appreciate number 2.
Yes.
But number 2, again, I watched it. You know, we just watched it recently, and I have a greater appreciation for it. There were so many subtleties to it that I missed out on, and you're absolutely right. I misjudged Dan Aykroyd's character and just fell in love with his character in both 1 and 2 so much after rewatching it again.
Yes,
so, yes, go watch them both. Yes.
I love I like the world building of Ghostbusters 2. I like the idea of Vigo the Carpathian, just like this awful, brutal, like Vlad the Impaler stuck in a painting.
Right.
I like the River of Slime. And I'm mostly like Janosz.
Okay, how could you not like Janosz? I love the character.
He's a bit much sometimes.
Oh, he's completely over the top.
Uh-huh.
Right. But he's just that, I'm very creepy. He's the type of person, I think I've run into people like that in real life. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so other than that, because they introduced that character, they don't have a character really like him so much in the first movie, right? So they had to expand upon it and give this other, like this, the evil lackey. Let's call him like that.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So they didn't have that the first one. Okay. So out of the 2, obviously we like number 1 better. Right?
Number 1 is a classic. It's hard to beat in comparison to any other movie. It's one of my all-time favorites, and it's going to stay there because it's near perfect in just its rhythm.
Sure.
It's great. I love it.
Okay, so let's dissect each character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, including both movies, in 1 and 2. So the Bill Murray character, who is
Peter Venkman.
Okay, so how would you describe him? And did he go through any kind of an arc in his life span between movie 1 and 2? Well, I'm just throwing these questions at him, so he is not prepared. So
I'm prepared.
It's all in his brain.
I'm prepared.
Yes. See if the green screen is working. Ooh.
If it's not, you're gonna look real.
Go ahead.
In the first movie, Peter Venkman, we get introduced to him in the famous what's the word? Psychic.
Yeah, the
psychic scene where he's testing an attractive young woman.
Yes.
And this just guy. And he's shocking the guy, but obviously he's cheating so that the woman wins every single time.
Yeah, so you get introduced to him as kind of a womanizer.
He's a
fraud.
Hound. He's a fraud.
He's a fraud. Maybe like a different truther. Okay?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So he is a hound. He's after the pretty girl, and he doesn't mind picking on the little guy.
No.
I don't think he's mean as much as he likes the sense of the joke.
Yes,
likes,
definitely.
He likes picking on the guy for the humor involved in it.
He's a joker. As the scene moves forward and they go into the library, we establish that he is the cynic of the group, which we already sort of get because he's faking the whole psychic thing.
Right.
But and I think that's important because his cynicism lends himself to his most admirable quality, which is he is just one of the most naturally funny characters in cinema, even more than other Bill Murray characters. Bill Murray, obviously, one of the funniest comedic performers of our time.
Yes.
But I think this movie, because he's just surrounded by, I assume, just pure Dan Aykroyd, like, gobbledygook.
Yes.
I think it's a lot of Bill Murray being like, this is stupid.
I know,
like,
but you're right. I like the way you're calling him. He's the cynic. He early on goes, all right, fine, we'll do this. I don't believe in this. Okay, this whole bit, and then he becomes a believer. It's a very quick arc for him, for he just suddenly becomes a believer.
Right.
And where most people would be like, oh my God, I'm terrified, look at what's going on, he immediately goes, we could make money at this.
Yes, and that's the perfect change for his character. He's like, we got to make a business out of this.
Right.
Something Ray or Egon would never choose to do.
Correct.
But they need the cynic, they need the moneymaker, the hound.
Yes,
To grease the wheels and say we're gonna do this. We're gonna
right. I like that. All right. So and he stays pretty much the same. He's a little more vulnerable in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but he's pretty much his character is the same. He kind of settles down, or we think he settles down in part 2.
Yeah, he's I'd say he domesticates a lot.
Yes,
because he obviously for part 2 is just trying to get back with Dana Barrett.
Right.
And the big arc in the first movie is him sort of respecting Dana Barrett over other women he has pursued.
Right. And I think that's the part that is kind of a little bit of a letdown when you're watching the movie, because we fell in love with Peter Venkman from the first movie, and to see him domesticated, word, to see him domesticated in the second movie, it's kind of like, yeah, that's nice.
And I don't think that's bad necessarily.
No.
We just get, I'd say, maybe too many scenes of it.
Yes, I agree. I want to see more about the guys goofing up and getting scared, solving the problems, that kind
Honestly,
of
stuff. I can only think of really one scene where Venkman is interacting at full capacity with the other Ghostbusters, and it's when he's in the occult store and he's like talking to Ray and Egon, and he like pinches Ray's ears. It's like, they're all talking, they're all back.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of separated from everyone for the rest of the movie.
Interesting. I didn't notice that, but I think you're absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's go to Egon, Harold Ramis. Okay?
Harold Ramis, yep.
There you go.
Egon Spangler, Bill Murray is my favorite performance, I'd say, in the first movie.
Right.
But Egon Spangler might be the best character in the first movie.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The best character, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because he establishes that who he is, and he just never leaves that character.
Yes, and it's perfect. He is a believer like Ray, but none of it is optimistic. It's all just very incredibly surface level.
That's it.
He is a mostly humorless person.
Right. Everything is black and white for him.
Yes,
right.
He has no idea of social grace, which makes it so funny when Janine falls for him of all people.
Right.
I love at the end, of course, immediately after saving Louis Tully, he's like, we'd like to use a little bit of your brain tissue. Like, that's the immediate place he goes.
Exactly, because he's 100% nerd. He is just so into the science of the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, then in part 2,
it
he starts to lose a little bit
scaled back.
And he becomes more human. And most of the time, when we're watching movies, we want to see those characters evolve. But in part of this, for a movie like this, that it's supposed to be just all tongue-in-cheek comedy, I don't really want to see the human side of him. Maybe a touch of it. I just want him to be who he is. Okay?
I'd say there are like maybe 3 moments where I think Egon is himself.
Okay.
It's when he asks his intern, let's see what happens if we take away the puppy.
Yes, exactly. The negative reinforcement. Or something
like
that.
human emotion affecting the the whatever of the room. Yeah,
right.
It's when he's talking about his childhood. I think that's exactly what Egon.
I never had toys.
I had part of a Slinky and I straightened it. Like that's perfect.
Yes.
And then it's when the ghost train runs over Winston and he's like, "Did you see the number?"
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. He doesn't draw to the. Oh my God, are you okay? It's more like, did you collect data?
I know what train this might be. Yeah.
Yes.
But everything else, he feels loosened, and maybe part of it is the core issue that Bill Murray is separated from the other Ghostbusters, because as we noted, there's the scene where Ray and Egon are together.
Okay.
And there is just a lack of a joke.
Yes.
They just talk about what food they might want.
Right,
which feels odd.
Yeah, there's that one scene. I think you pointed it out that it just seems like I don't even understand why it's in there because they're talking about, oh, you want pizza? Oh, New York or Chicago? And it's kind of like I don't understand. They're having a little conversation that has nothing to do with anything. Mm-hmm. It's just a forced conversation, so the two of them could be on the screen.
It's not that funny.
No, there's not. I don't know anything that's funny about it. Not at all. It's just a little short conversation that doesn't help the movie in any regard.
Yes.
Okay. Now, before we get to Dan Aykroyd, because I really want to save him for last, Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, I feel bad for Ernie Hudson because he is like just an actor. He's a character actor.
Yes.
And he is put up against three of the most incredibly talented comedic performers of the 70s, 80s.
Right. Like, he's got to play the straight man among these guys.
Yes.
He's got to throw in some emotion. He's got to be real and honest and human, and it's got to be real tough. And they give him, he's got the least amount of lines.
Yes.
So it's like, go and do all of that. You have to be the connection to the audience. You have to be the real person. You have to be our straight man. And here, you only have 5 lines. Go.
Yes.
Yeah. So he is an underrated character as far as I'm concerned.
Yes. And I think he is probably the one character who improves from Ghostbusters 1 to 2.
Okay. How so?
Because in the first one, as I said, my one issue with the first one, keeping in mind, it is that he is he is so underutilized. Like there's so little Winston. He feels like a kind of a superfluous character.
Right.
And also, I just think there are some like more comedic lines he delivers a little worse than the others. Like there's a moment in the mayor's office where they're all talking about how New York will be worse. And I think he just delivers it a step below how everyone is doing it.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. Whatever. But in the second one, because Bill Murray's gone, Winston does more. He's around more.
Good.
Ray, Egon, and Winston are off discovering the River of Slime.
Right, they're working
going
together.
Out to the train station. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's good. We talked about how Winston and Ray sort of have this subtle like friendship,
right,
that gets developed more over the movie. Yeah.
Well, and so now let's just jump into Ray. Okay, Dan Aykroyd.
Yes, Raymond Stantz.
There you go. Because is it Dr. Raymond Stantz?
Yes, everyone but Winston is a doctor.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, I just wanted to make sure on that. I didn't want to quote it, and then some doctor out there say I'm wrong.
Actually, he's a professor. Yeah.
Nice. But anyway, so Dan Aykroyd, like I said, is the another underrated character in the movie that it's easy to forget about how strong a character it is. And Bill Murray was the one who really pointed it out, where at first you kind of like think that's a throwaway line, but it really was a true line when he said, this is Ray Stantz, the heart of the Ghostbusters. Mm-hmm. Okay, because that was in part 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it was so cool because at first you kind of go, okay, so it's just his sarcastic line that he's throwing out there. But in reality, it's the truth.
Yes.
Because he's the only one, Dan Aykroyd's the only one that has individual relationships with each of the other characters, right?
Yes.
So he is the nerdy guy with Harold Ramis.
Yes, him and Egon are intellectual equals.
Completely. Yes. Right. Yeah, they're equal. None of them are, they bring their own stuff to the table, but they can have great conversations, and they're great conversations to watch.
Okay. They're the ones who are actually making the Ghostbusters run, like the way it's supposed to. They know, like, we got to consult Tobin's spirit guide.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, I'll go do this, and I'll take a look at the architectural structure, and I'll do this. Yeah, they have all the answers because they're just so filled with knowledge. Right. You already brought up that he has got a great relationship with the fourth Ghostbuster. Okay.
Winston. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That it's more of a humanistic relationship where Winston is talking about the biblical idea of it.
Yes.
And Raymond immediately goes, oh yeah, Ray goes, yeah, I understand, and he's able to quote some of the Bible, and they have this great conversation. Just that.
They're the ones who are playing for parties in the second
there
movie.
You go. Yeah.
They just have this little back and forth. Winston is clearly closer to Ray than anyone else.
Right.
Winston is hired by Ray on the spot.
Sure.
And then when the slime gets in contact with them, Ray and Winston almost kill each other.
That's in part 2. Yes,
in part two.
Right.
And they realize, oh man, that's when they realize it's serious. We were gonna.
Yeah, because they were almost best friends without even saying they're best friends.
Yes.
Right. So that's cool because that's an interesting. It's an interesting point because Dan Aykroyd plays a part where he's almost best friends with every one of the characters.
Yes, he's the one who is connecting all three.
Yeah. And so he's got a great relationship with Bill Murray through both that I didn't realize how funny and how tongue-in-cheek he is in both movies. I had this image, this memory of him being the dorky scaredy cat, okay? And then watching it, I think we talked about it, and you were like, no, I don't get that from him. And watching it again, I'm going, wow, I really mistook him because he does have a certain amount of courage. He's got some knowledge, and he can joke around a lot with Venkman.
Especially in 2.
Yeah.
I think. I'd say one of the weaker elements of Ghostbusters 2 is the humor.
Okay.
Just for me. I don't like when they are just impersonating New York police, not police, New York engineers.
Yeah, the workers, right.
That feels more like Bill Murray, Harold Ramis, and Dan Aykroyd than it does Peter, Egon, and Ray.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good point. You're absolutely right. There's that part where they're drilling into the street and they've got to fool the cops and they change personality. And without a doubt, Bill Murray, you can say to yourself, could almost pull that off. We can picture Peter Venkman doing that, maybe.
Yeah, but never Ray.
No.
And Egon does, I say.
Yeah.
When he does, yo.
Yeah, exactly. That's cool because he's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say, but I'm going to play the part.
Ray feels off.
Yes. Egon plays... Those are the kind of little things that Harold Ramis did in those movies that I really like. Like that type of thing of going, okay, I'm intelligent. I understand I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm not exactly sure. So you're right. He does that, yo, like I'm one of these guys. We're these tough guys. Also, in the first movie, you remember when they bust the ghost, their first ghost, in the hotel.
Yes.
And Peter Venkman's going to go, okay, let's figure out how much this is going to cost. And he looks, and Egon's the one who goes, like 4, and he brushes his face or something like that to tell him. Egon's the one who's just like, okay, I have to, he's clued in where he understands I've got to signal him. Okay, it's the introduction of him saying, I'm not all black and white. I'm not all just nerdy. There are some subtleties that I understand as a human. I have to go, that's only 1,000. This is 4.
Of course, he's the one who knows how much it's going to cost.
Completely.
He's the one who's in charge of making everything run.
Yes, yeah. And he's the one who, when they get the loan, and Dan Aykroyd is like, oh my God, I can't. Nobody takes out a third mortgage on their home. And Bill Murray's excited, going, yes, it's going to be awesome.
Everyone's got a third mortgage. Right. Don't worry about it.
Right.
And he ends in the back with a calculator.
Going, do you know how much the interest alone would be? And so that's a cool scene. Just that really cool scene points out all three of them, their characters to a T. That scene, it's the birth of Ghostbusters when they finally say, "We got it," and the three of them, their energy just comes out.
Definitely, yeah.
Excellent. All right, well that's cool. I'm looking forward to. We're going to watch the next 2 movies, which are called.
Well, there is the 2016 Ghostbusters, which was released as just Ghostbusters.
Yes,
but has since been retroactively called Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
Oh, okay. All right.
Whatever. It's the one that everyone knows. It stars Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon.
Yes. Which is a great comedic team. They're extremely funny women. We will watch the movie. We'll watch it again, And we're going to do a comparison between that and
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
yes. And I haven't seen that. You haven't seen it, right?
No, I have not. No.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to it. So that this way, obviously, when we do that, we'll touch on the first two movies again.
Yes.
But we'll be comparing all four of them.
Yeah, we'll have to say which one's the best, which one's worst, and where the middle two fall in. Yeah.
And now I just have a cinematic comment.
Go ahead.
Okay, and I want to hear you on it. Is that it seems so often in the movie industry, what they do is they force out these sequels. They force out additional movies because they're building upon the idea that that first one was a success, so let's keep doing it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2 of Ghostbusters, to me, pulled it off. It was very good. It was well done. I don't know, at what point do you say, let's continue to keep doing this? So I'm looking forward to the fourth movie, to see if they've changed it up enough to really make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Very few sequels or movies that have multiple sequels, very few of those become great movies. They're just okay movies, or the last bit to go, well, we're gonna get one more bucket of popcorn out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do you?
That's a funny way to put it. I like that.
There you go. So what do you think of sequels in general, and especially the Ghostbusters sequels?
Ghostbusters 1 is such lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
And I know Ghostbusters 2 wasn't bad.
Right.
But I
like how you say it wasn't bad. It's not worse. Okay. Or those. I liked Ghostbusters 2 a lot.
I don't think it's a bad movie. It's good.
Okay.
But compared to Ghostbusters
compared to 1, it can't compare. And like I said, you've got to see 1 in order to enjoy 2.
I'm very pro-creative. I think people should do their own things.
Okay.
So generally, sequels kind of rub me the wrong way.
Okay.
Unless it's like a Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter situation where there's a full story that needs to be told in several movies. Yeah. Whatever, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah. As long as there is something very specific that has to be told.
Yes.
Correct.
With Ghostbusters, it's like the first one is such a lightning in the bottle comedy movie, just this very specific group of people, and every one it's just felt worse. Like
a little off.
It feels like every time I hear one of the sequels reference "Who you gonna call?"
Right.
I'm sure in Afterlife, it's like at some point someone's gonna pick up a phone and another character's gonna be like, "What? Who are you gonna call?"
Right.
And it's gonna be the most mind-numbing part of the movie.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I watched the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer, and all I can think is, why couldn't this just be a movie about small town kids catching a ghost? Like, why does it need to be Ghostbusters?
All right, well, that's a good point, but I'm going to save my comment on that until we see the movie.
Sure.
I really want to see it. Because I hear mixed reviews. I hear some people going, it's great, I love it. Mm-hmm. And I hear other people going, it's all right. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting for someone like me who saw Ghostbusters, the first one, when it was in the theaters. Okay. And it's become part of my life, that whole history of, I wanted to be a Ghostbuster.
Right.
All right.
Who didn't?
Exactly. But the reality is I am afraid of ghosts. So I wouldn't want you to call me.
Please don't call me.
Exactly. So at a future episode of this show, I'd like to do sequels that really worked.
Yes.
Okay. Like the Godfather sequels.
Godfather sequel, yes, I agree.
Sequels.
The Godfathers 2 really works. Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm one of the few people who really like Godfather 3.
That'll have to be its own mega episode. All 3 Godfather movies.
There you go. Yeah. All right. So do you have any treats for us for today?
Any treats?
Yeah.
I mean, how long has this video gone on?
I have no idea.
I want to check without.
So awesome. You got any treats for us? Anything you want to add?
Why, yes.
Do you do?
Okay. So, Ghostbusters is a movie franchise that they will probably make new one. Once Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd are dead,
they'll come back as ghosts.
They're going to make Ghostbusters movie after Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, because now, hold on. Just really quick. I love cutting him off.
Please do.
Slimer is supposed to be based on
John Belushi.
Which is interesting because I like just the John Belushi from like Animal House, kind of.
John Belushi. No, the
guy.
There's actually a funny backstory about the guy who made Slimer.
Okay.
He made just like this gross ghost.
Yeah.
With just this big mouth to eat stuff.
Yeah.
And then he was messaged later on like, hey, could you design this to look like John Belushi?
Yeah.
And he had this design, and he was like, I don't have time to make a new
Right.
one. So he just brought the Slimer design to Dan Aykroyd, and Dan Aykroyd was like, yeah, that's him.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
John, yeah.
Really? All right, because to me, when I heard that, I was like, he doesn't really look like John Belushi, but he does resemble John Belushi, especially in the movie Animal House, which is a different movie. Anyway, so that would be cool.
It is a different movie.
Yeah, exactly, completely. Nothing to do with this. But it would be interesting. I don't know. It's sad. I mean, because Harold Ramis is gone. Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson. One day they're going to be gone.
Yes.
It would be interesting. Do you think it would be proper to bring them back as ghosts for another Ghostbuster movie, like Ghostbuster 3000?
My answer is no. Oh my God! Please don't.
Oh, come on, they would be really good. You know, Bill Murray would still be going, I don't really believe in ghosts.
That's my biggest worry about Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes.
Is that Harold Ramis is going to come back as a ghost.
That would be sad. That would, yeah. I mean, it could, I mean, all things could be done well. Okay, but anyway, we digress. Please tell me more about this idea you have. You have something else, because you are the person you're the expert in movie-thon.
Movie-thon.
The movie world.
Moveology.
Yes.
Well, I had the idea. Obviously, Ghostbusters is very famously a New York franchise.
Yes.
But what's interesting is
what?
Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, both from Illinois.
Right.
Both got their start in Second City in Chicago.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis, Canadian, but also got his start in Chicago.
Right.
It's also a very Chicagoan franchise.
Where's Ernie Hudson from?
I don't know. Probably.
We'll just say Chicago.
Omaha. I don't know.
Okay. Anyway,
I should have looked up where
Chicago.
Ernie Hudson's
Yeah,
from.
because you know I was going to ask you. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And so
I would love to just sort of brainstorm on what would be a good take on Ghostbusters Chicago.
Oh, that would be cool, because you do have the Chicago. We're famous for the Chicago Bears, which are also known as the Monsters of the Midway. Okay, so you've got that whole connection. That would be cool.
You know what my immediate thought is?
What?
You know who you bring back as a ghost? Famous dead Chicagoan?
Richard Daley.
Al Capone.
Al Capone, even better. Yes.
Comes back. You get some.
There you go.
Get some good actor.
Yeah.
You know, one of them.
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro. Yeah, Robert De Niro.
There you go. He knows how to play.
He's played him.
Capone.
Yeah.
Right. There you go.
Robert De Niro just be like, I'm dead, but that doesn't mean I can't cause trouble. You know?
Yo. All right, that's cool.
Maybe you have the ghost of Al Capone working a more threatening, like, you know,
right.
a Gozer type. Where,
Correct.
And then I think that's interesting. You have the Ghostbusters in Chicago. Obviously, you can't have Bill Murray. Let them retire.
Yeah, exactly. They're all at the funeral home, some Chicagoland funeral home. Not funeral
home. Oh, they are dead.
Retirement home.
Home.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yes.
So the question is, because we're gonna watch Ghostbusters 2016.
Yes.
Where they did just try the route of directly replacing
all the characters. Yes.
I need to know who you think. They don't have to be modern comedians still performing comedy, but just modern enough that they could still be in a movie like
that fully. That would be like the new, like if we were to pick 4 new comedians.
Yes.
That would be the new Ghostbusters. Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay. You know what? I really like Bill Burr.
Ooh, Bill Burr.
Bill Burr would be great in one of the characters.
You know what? I'm gonna say Bill Burr would make a great Winston.
Yes, I love it. That's what I was thinking. Awesome.
Because first of all, and
I don't see him as the nerdy type.
Yes. We're not gonna. This isn't a super political show.
No.
But it is a little interesting that in both the '80s one and the 2016 one, the 2016 progressive one, they have cast the black person as the non-scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
And Bill Burr, his whole thing is working class.
Yeah, he is definitely that everyman. He's the one that we can connect with, and he says the things that sometimes we think about, but we know we can't say. So Bill Burr would be that Winston character, without a doubt. And
did you ever watch a show called The Good Place?
Yes.
Do you remember the
Bill Burr is in that?
No, not Bill Burr.
Okay.
Do you remember her boyfriend?
No, I didn't watch that much.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna interject here and say, the second lead of that show is a character named Chidi, and he's super smart. He's nerdy, and it is
Interesting.
It is this actor named William Jackson Harper,
Okay.
and he has played two very different shades of like the nerdy, detached character. One in The Good Place where he's more energetic, and then there's a movie called Midsummer where he plays a side character, but he's completely shut off.
Yeah,
like,
I have no idea who you're talking about, so that makes this even more exciting. So now I have to
I'm
look
just
him
trying
up to see if I can figure him out. I'm thinking you're talking about Ted Danson, which
No,
I'm like, I don't see where Ted
not
Danson played. But talking about Ted Danson, you know who else could be a great Ghostbuster? Still around, still funny, and I think he could play one of the nerdy ones.
It is funny if you would have just said Ted Danson. Who?
Howie Mandel.
Why did
He's a germaphobe. I just kind of picture him playing that He might be the Ray Stantz character. He could maybe possibly.
I could see it.
I'm not 100% behind it, but I do like Howie Mandel.
I see Howie Mandel as like a Louis Tully or a Janosch.
Okay. Oh,
rather
there you
than
go.
a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
Like he's just
he's the
nerdy character.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You know, Janosch is mean. Louis is cool.
Okay. I thought you meant just like he's the evil guy. Like he could be a Bond villain. Howie Mandel is a Bond villain. All right. So anyway, going back to this. So who are some of the other comedians you could think of that would really?
I will say. I just want to say. You know,
you don't have to raise your hand.
You can look him up. Whatever.
I'm going to look him up.
I think William Jackson Harper would be a perfect Egon type.
So we'll say him
in a way that doesn't feel derivative of Egon, and I think he could also make it interesting. I just want to throw that out there. So
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
He'd make a perfect Peter Venkman.
There you go. And William Degrassi.
What's deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. No. Let's not bring either of them into the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. They could play bit parts in the background. Mm-hmm. Okay, but that's it. Not. So, do you have other comedians in your head? Because the first one, it was funny. The first one that popped in my head was Bill Burr. You know who else? Just because I like the comedians I really like. Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais.
Could he play a part in this? Because he does seem like he would be someone who could play the role of being skeptical and then flipping it around.
I could see it. Maybe. Yeah. You know, I think he's, you know, he could work for the Bill Murray character.
Okay. Yeah.
He wouldn't be my first choice.
Okay.
But
what's his name? The guy who did The Office.
Steve Carell.
Yeah. Steve Carell.
I could see Steve Carell honestly as a Ray Stantz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll go with that. All right. So we'll check that one off. Mm-hmm. There. Steve Carell, Bill Burr.
And now that Steve Carell's sort of getting a little older, I think it can be a different dynamic.
Yeah. Like
this older geek and maybe like, because he's older than Bill Burr now, and then like everyone's like, hey, you know, Gramps, like, what are you fiddling with? And he's like, oh, don't worry, guys, I've got the perfect calculation. You know.
So if we've got Bill Burr as Winston, Steve Carell as Ray Stantz, right? This guy Irving,
William Jackson Harper.
William Jackson Harper.
Yeah, Irving.
William Jackson Irving Harper. What's his name?
Harper. These are three names I'm sure you've heard 1 million times.
But never together. So I'm a big fan. Okay? Yeah. So anyway, he plays the Egon character, so now we need the Bill Murray character.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and I don't think we can
Rodney Dangerfield.
Yes. Perfect. Oh my God.
Rodney Dangerfield, the ghost of Rodney Dangerfield should play Slimer in the new movie.
Perfect.
Oh. I'm a ghost. I get no
respect.
All right.
Now we just need to think of, because it can't be Bill Murray.
No.
It's got to be
tough. It's tough to replace
that
character, that kind of a guy, because he is a powerhouse. Okay. Also, we're sucking up to you, Bill Murray. So if you ever watch this, you know. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling we're going to cut. We're going to cut here and go 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Tina Fey.
I don't know. I could see it.
Yeah, I think she could do that.
Well, here's what you do. You have Tina Fey be like Steve Carell's niece.
Oh, there you go.
And like maybe
I think, aren't they around the same age?
Yeah, they
I
are.
think they were in the same. They were in a movie. They were a blind date movie or something like that. And so that's interesting that you.
Why do I
immediately
assume
think-
Tina
because-
Fey is younger than Steve Carell?
Okay.
No.
Well, there you go. Steve Carell will never be on this show.
Oh. But Tina Fey.
Yeah, Tina Fey, you're more than welcome. You can show up with Bill Murray.
Tina Fey, maybe she's like Steve Carell's sister.
Yeah, sister. Yeah, cousin, whatever.
You know, and she's
she's a scientist as well.
Yeah, and maybe their mom, you know, is like, help your brother. His business is going under. She's like,
what accent is that?
Help your brother.
Help your brother. Have some coffee.
Help your brother in Chicago.
All right,
His
go.
business is going under.
Okay.
And then she goes over there.
You know how many Chicago comedians are probably going to watch this show and say, oh, why did they pick me? You know how many?
Yeah, none.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so there you go. I think that's a good cast.
Yeah.
Or who is the but I was going to suggest a lot of other female comedians who could play that role, but they were already in Ghostbusters 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So
they got their chance.
You're out of this movie.
They got their shot.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else that you could think of?
Chelsea Peretti would be another good.
Who's Chelsea Peretti?
You've seen her.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I don't know her by name.
She's a comedian. She's
good. That narrowed it right down.
She's also a woman.
She's a woman.
She's
and a comedian.
She has sort of her defining feature. She's sort of got a larger nose. She's very deadpan.
She comes from Saturday Night Live.
She wasn't on Saturday Night Live. You ever see that show Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I love this, and I'm sure she appreciates that. Her defining feature, she's got a big nose.
It's no, it's her. It is.
Okay.
You would know her if you saw her.
None of these people are ever going to be on this show.
You would know her if you saw her.
I do. I love her. I love her. One day when Luke can't be on the show, you come on the show. You and I. We'll
yes, Chelsea Peretti, do it.
Exactly. I'm waiting. All right. Okay. Awesome.
Yes.
Well, there it is. That's our show. Well, wait. Because if Tina Fey is the Venkman, is it Venkman or Bankman? Venkman. She's the Venkman character. Who's her love interest?
Ooh, that's a great.
That's right, because you need somebody very confident in themselves, very proper. Okay, little
also willing to loosen up.
Yeah, a little. She's just like, okay, I'm not. I'm. She's intelligent. I see through your ruse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So who's our Dan Barrett?
Yeah, Dan. I was like, wait, her name is Dana, but I get it, Dan. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that type of a person.
It's got to be like sort of in Tina Fey's age range.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a comedic actor, because
right.
we don't want him to steal any scenes or try to
Correct.
and fail.
Who's the guy who played in Moon?
Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell, yes.
Sam Rockwell's too good of an actor.
To be in this movie?
Yes. If anything, Sam Rockwell should be Al Capone.
Oh, that would be good too. Yeah. I'm just saying I like Sam Rockwell because he also played in like those sci-fi movies, just like Sigourney Weaver.
Yes,
so
that's true.
He fits the mold.
I see.
Exactly.
No.
All right. Look at if the green screen works. Look at how cool this would be.
Yeah.
You were just doing something. You're not wearing a green shirt. Woo. All right. Go ahead. So yeah, I throw out Sam Rockwell. You just knocked him, so you have to pick somebody.
I know, and I'll think of someone.
Yeah.
What if you get like Kit Harington, Jon Snow from Game of Thrones?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Just like enough. He's a good enough actor to work. You get like that sort of and I know he's not really in Tina Fey's age range now. Now I know because apparently
that's right.
I misjudged Tina Fey's age.
Tina Fey forever young.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that character, and that made me think of someone else. In Bruges. Who's in Bruges?
Colin Farrell.
I always like him. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Straight, got little comedic tendencies. He could pull it off too.
And also, you got to think, if we're going the sort of classic Ghostbusters route, Dana Barrett has historically been the one who the supernatural stuff happens to.
Yes. So you need that character. So there you go. All right. So our whole team, right from the top.
Let me
say it. Okay, you got Bill Burr. We have Tina Fey. We have Irving Berlin. Parker.
William Jackson Harper.
And that other comedian?
Steve Carell.
Oh, yeah, completely. That's all of them. And then we have Sam Rockwell. as
I thought we said
playing-
Colin Farrell.
playing Colin Farrell in Ghostbusters Yet to Come.
With Howie Mandel.
With Howie Mandel.
As the Louis Tully type.
There you go.
Perfect.
Right.
Wonderful.
And Steve Nye, the science guy, as Slimer.
Ooh. It's funny because if the green screen doesn't work, we are doing the same thing.
All right. Well, thank you again. This has been a lot of fun. I am Marty Jalove.
I am Luke Jalove.
And together we are
Sons of Cinema.
Ooh.